Hello and welcome to the 40 Acts Generosity Challenge, Stewardship's new podcast for Lent. We help Christian donors, workers, charities and churches to steward their resources generously for God's kingdom. I'm your host, Ruth Jackson, and each week from Ash Wednesday onwards, hear from a member of our stewardship community who is engaged in 40 Acts, our generosity challenge for Lent. Our guests will share the highs and lows of their 40 Acts journey to date and how their faith is helping them to keep going. Hello and welcome to week 3 of the 40 Acts Generosity Challenge, Stewardship's special podcast series for Lent. And today I'm super excited to be joined in the studio by Emma Francis. Emma is an author, podcaster, and trainee life coach. In 2015, Emma founded a website called Girl Got Faith to help teen girls be confident in who they are created to be and live out a life of faith, her greatest passion. More recently, she set up Kobe House, an online community to encourage people to live out their full potential. Emma, hello, welcome onto the show. Thank you. I know you've taken time out of a busy working day to be with me for the next half hour or so. So thank you. We appreciate you taking that time out. And I'm looking forward to catch up with you on your 40 Acts journey so far. Now, everyone's still buzzing from Chocolate Tuesday yesterday, which has to be one of the most popular days in the 40 Acts Challenge. How did that go for you?
Oh, I love Chocolate Tuesday. It's so good. And it was so much fun actually to be a part of the campaign with Stewardship doing that. Because I think I love all of the acts because how much they can involve the whole family. And it was really special to do that with my son. And it's been something so fun as well. He goes to a Church of England school, so it's quite cool because they're really receptive to the idea of like following along with the Lent journey and stuff. So it was cool getting to tell them about it and encouraging them as a school that they could do Chocolate Tuesday or they could do the whole of the 40 Acts journey. But yeah, it was really fun.
Oh, that's brilliant. And thank you for spreading the word. That's great to hear that your son's school's involved too. That's fantastic. So I'd love to know what's been your favourite act so far and why?
Do you know what? It's so hard because there's been so many good ones. But I think one of my favourite ones was, because it was just a nice reminder, was the one where it was like writing a note of encouragement to somebody that you wouldn't maybe usually write a note to. And the reason I loved it so much was because earlier, like last year, in the middle of the year, my granddad passed away. And he was so brilliant at writing people letters and notes of encouragement. He would do it all the time. Like growing up, we would always get letters from him. Even becoming adults, you still write letters. And then more recently in church, I befriended this older man. He's like 82. And he also writes letters. And so he actually writes a newsletter that he sends around to like just all the people that he's known like throughout his life. And it really encouraged me just reading his letter and then hearing the 40 Acts thing of remembering like, oh yeah, it's good to write encouraging letters. It then inspired me and I was like, oh, I really actually do want to start doing that. So I wrote a note to somebody who used to go to my church, who's moved away. And I just felt like I should write to encourage them just about the impact that they made while they were here. Because I felt like, oh, why didn't I tell them that when they were here? Like, why wouldn't I have done that? But I thought it was really special to be able to write a little note to them. It was like tiny, like a few sentences. But yeah, that was my favourite one so far because I think it was just such a brilliant reminder of something that I've been meaning to do for a long time.
And
so, yeah.
Have you had any feedback? Have you heard back from that person?
No, not yet. I've only just sent it. So
yeah.
I don't even know if they've got it yet. They'll probably hear this and be like, oh.
But you know, in this fast-paced digital age, I'm sure receiving that note is going to be a real moment of joy for them. It's like a real treat now to get snail mail. I mean, obviously bills and junk we're not interested in, but you know, a personally crafted note like that. And the wonderful thing about it is that, you know, we do talk about generosity in all its forms on this journey, don't we? And that's a great example of something that, yes, does require a bit of time and a bit of intentionality, and I guess the cost of a stamp or something, but it's not about necessarily, big financial gifts or feeling like you're under some kind of pressure to give more than you can. This is just taking a moment, isn't it? And it's so simple, but such a lovely thing to do that I can hear from the way you told the story, it's given you joy as well, and no doubt will be really blessing that person who's received it. So and I'm going to take that as an encouragement to myself as well, because I think that point that you made is so valid. I think so often we do have people in our lives that we think are great and have maybe helped us in different ways, but have we actually remembered to stop and go, thank you, you're amazing, or whatever the thing is? So that's a really excellent one to pick out. So Emma, I'm wondering, what's been your experience of marking Lent in the past, and how does that compare to 40 Acts?
Do you know what? I have always loved Lent. I think because I love Pancake Day.
Who doesn't love Pancake Day, right?
I feel like that's like one of the highlights for me in the annual calendar. But I do love that kind of the season of Lent and how it just pulls you into this space of focused and intentionality. And it's not like there's a big kind of, like, I know there's like Advent, for example, and Advent is like you're leading up to Christmas, so you're kind of leading up to, like, I don't know, and I just feel like with Lent it's so nice that it's such a long period of time that it really does draw something deeper out of you, I think. So I've always really enjoyed it in the past. I often do kind of go for the thing of giving up something. So alongside doing the 40 Acts journey, I'm also trying to not have sweets and chocolate, and I've done well so far, but we've got a way to go, so I'm not going to get too excited yet.
So I take it yesterday then you were giving the chocolate away, definitely not partaking yourself as
not
well.
For me.
Oh, that's quite hard.
Me.
Yeah. No. Sorry, I interrupted you. You were going to say something.
No, it's fine. Yeah, so that's usually kind of what I would do. But no, I think that this is such a joyful way to do it, with thinking about how we can be generous, and it's not just about like taking things away from our lives, but actually what can we do to impact, what can we do to be generous towards others. And I think it makes it so much more enjoyable, especially for kids, to get involved. Because I remember when I was little, I would be like, my parents would be like, what are you going to give up for Lent? And I'd be like, I'm going to give up Brussels sprouts, or I'd be like, just like something that I really don't like already. And it was never really something like super exciting. Whereas I think doing it this way around, with like the exciting acts and everything that we can do, it's so fun for kids to be involved with. So I love that.
Keeps it really, really positive. So from what you've said, am I right in thinking that you were raised with faith? Have you always been a Christian?
Yeah, so I was raised in a Christian family.
Right.
My mum and dad became Christians a few years before I was born. So I think they were themselves fairly new to faith. So they were very like zealous about their faith, really encouraging of me and my sisters to be going to church and stuff. But they were always really certain about the fact that your faith is a personal relationship with God. It's your own decision. So when I was 7, I decided, I want to invite Jesus into my life. And I've walked with God ever since, like even through the teenage years, the university days, everything. I've kind of never gone away. And I've often felt like, does that mean my testimony is really boring? Like I've got no good story. But actually, I think it is just such a testament of God's faithfulness and him being such a friend to me and a father throughout my whole life. So that would be my testimony, I would say.
And I think the very fact that you have been constant throughout is in itself an amazing story. And I think we often think, well, my little story isn't that interesting, but I think we all have our stories that have different sort of aspects of faith embedded, and that then in turn influence people around us in ways that we often don't even realize. So there's no such thing as a boring testimony, I think. It's all a wonderful, rich part of God's tapestry. So thank you for sharing that, Emma. That's lovely to hear. So coming back to 40 Acts, the theme for today's act is hope, #hope. And our challenge is to write a message of hope, which I just love, perhaps using our campaign hashtag 40 Acts. And we could write that note. The invitation is we could do it on a note or a painted stone. I'm loving that idea if I've got the moment to get creative. And then leaving it somewhere to be found. So sure everyone else is joining me, wanting to hear what's your plan for this challenge, and maybe you're doing that with your son as well.
Yeah, no, I love this idea, and I loved the ideas of like how you can do it as well. And we've got loads of little stones in this house. I don't know, anybody listening that's got young children will know that you can never go to the park or to the beach without coming back with things that belong on the beach or in the park. So we've got loads of little stones and stuff lying around. So our plan is that we're going to write on one of the little pebbles or one of the stones, things will get better. That's what we're going to write, just as
Oh,
like a little note of encouragement, and we'll leave it somewhere in the park, by the pond, just something where we know that people kind of like wander and often sit on a bench and reflect, and it might just catch someone's eye. And just really praying that for whoever sees that for them, that might be that like word of hope that they had been asking for, that they needed, to just know that, yeah, seasons change, things are hard sometimes, but also things can get so much better, and that is just the beauty of life, isn't it? So yeah, that would be our message of hope for today.
oh, I love that. And I bet doing that together as a family, that's going to be fantastic as well. I think,
Yes.
yeah, I can't remember. Sorry, you've mentioned your son. If you've got one or two
I've
children,
got two.
two,
So
yeah,
we've got my son who's 6, and then
yeah.
I've got a daughter who's 3.
Oh,
So my son has actually just started kind of doing lots more writing and stuff in school. So maybe he could have a go at writing his own one as well, which would be quite cute, like
oh,
writing
yeah.
probably all the words in random order, but it's fine.
That's a delightful age, isn't it? They're going to really enjoy getting involved and kind of get a sense of the excitement of it. I think it's very
Yeah.
lovely way of bringing your little girl into it as well. So yes,
Yeah.
you're doing this as a mum, as well as a content creator yourself, and we've made sure to include lots of kiddie friendly materials in our free
Yeah.
resources, haven't we? We've got that family wall chart and other bits and pieces. So yeah, tell me a bit more. How's it going bringing the family along on the 40X journey so far?
Yeah, I think it's so good. I think it's just like such an easy to get involved with kind of thing. And like you said, there's so many resources that just help equip you, and it doesn't have to be this big kind of overwhelm of like, oh my goodness, for 40 days we have to do something every day. Like that feels a lot when you look at the whole thing. But actually, when you take it day by day and you use the resources that are provided, you just take the ideas that are given and you make it your own and you make it simple, it's like such a beautiful journey to be on as a family together. And I think just like having that outward focus, I think often family life can become so inward focused. You've got so many schedules, you've got kids doing this after school club or this activity, you've got school pickup, you've got friends like birthdays, whatever. There's just so many different things that we're constantly like managing our own lives, and it becomes all about us all the time, every day. And actually, I think this is such a good reminder to be outward focused, to look at what we can do for other people, that there's so many other people in our world, and that we can make a difference to them, that we can be a light to them, we can encourage, we can be generous. So yeah, it's just like such a great reminder, the whole thing, really.
Thanks for sharing that, because I think a lot of people listening will find that really encouraging. And I especially love the bit where you say about making it your own, because I think people shouldn't be afraid to do that. Like, it's not meant to be a
Yeah.
rigid thing, like you've got to follow the suggested challenge to the letter. It's just that, it's a suggested challenge. It's more about entering into the spirit of it. And
Yeah.
yeah, just like other people have talked about, like developing your generosity muscles, but it's the heart behind it. So maybe you're not going to do the challenge exactly as it says in the daily email, but you're going to take the spirit of it and do something in that direction. So I absolutely love that, and it feeds nicely into my next question, which is really about the challenge of keeping going, and
Yeah.
how you might encourage people who, yeah, maybe they haven't managed to do an act every day, and that is okay. Just want to stress that is fine. Like, it's not meant to be like something burdensome. So here we are, week 3, we've got still quite a stretch to go. What would your top tips be for keeping going?
Yeah. Oh gosh, it is. It's a long time. It actually is hard, but I think, yeah, keeping it simple, like you said, not feeling like you've got to do it a certain way, but actually, even if you've forgotten to do one that day, like what could you do that evening? You could pray for someone, or just give someone a call, or whatever it is. But then also, if you miss a day, you miss a day. It's fine. Just start again. Like, do it, pick up from tomorrow. And I always think, like, I remember when I was younger, I really wanted to read the Bible in a year. Like, everybody would do like, oh, I've read the Bible in a year. And so I was like, I want to read the Bible in a year. And I would always try and I would always fail. Like, I would go a few weeks and then I would miss a couple of days. Then I'd be like, oh, I'm just going to give up because I've missed so much. And then one year I was like, no, I am going to do it. I'm going to read the whole Bible. But what I did is I had to follow a plan that had no dates so that if I missed a day, it didn't discourage me. And it ended up taking me 3 years to read the Bible in a year. But I did it in 3 years. And it was so good because I just felt like, yeah, I missed loads of days, like here, there and everywhere. But it was like what you said, like getting into the spirit of generosity, is getting into the habit and getting into that mindset and that flow and that becoming a part of the rhythm of your life, that you do things that are generous, that you do things that invest in other people. So yeah, I would say if you miss a day, you miss a day, just pick up from the next day. That would be my top tip.
Yeah, brilliant. And well done on reaching that, but going back to that moment when you first finished reading the Bible. And yeah, so what, you took 3 years, like it's still an amazing achievement. And I'm sure God still absolutely loved the fact that you did that. And that's actually a lovely tip actually to people out there who wanting to do the same thing, just to kind of go for plan where you're just like not straight jacketed by the date. So that's brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think really, just expanding on that spirit of the whole challenge, at the end of the day, this is about sharing the love of Jesus in little ways, isn't it? Little ways that make others feel seen and valued, like that note that you were telling us about earlier on in the chat. And, clearly you've got a really strong faith. So, leaning into that sort of slightly more serious aspect of it all, how would you say your faith is helping you to keep going through this season?
Yeah, my faith is everything for me. I really rely on God in every way that I can. But I think, life is life, isn't it? And sometimes like things come our way and it's really hard to remain focused on God. We can get so easily distracted. But I just try and like have things like implemented throughout my day. Like I like doing Lectio 365, where it's like 3 reminders every day to just stop and be like, let me refocus my brain for a sec. And so, I think I know myself quite well. I know my brain, that it's just goes here, there and everywhere. But then I know that God loves me and God is so faithful to me and he is never far. Like it's only ever me that drifts away. Like God is there. I remember somebody explained it once, like they imagine it to be like Jesus sitting in the corner of a room, just like reading a book. And we often kind of like come and go from that room. And every time we walk back in, he puts his book down, he looks up and it's like, oh, nice to see you. Like he's available, always there. But it's us that's kind of coming and going. But I think sometimes we can develop this idea that he gets like angry with us for, I don't know, forgetting him for a few hours or a day or whatever. And then that fills us with shame and we feel like, oh, I can't go back into that room. Like he must be busy doing other things now. But I just think having that kind of mindset that God is always there, like he is always present, and we can always come to him with everything that is going on in our lives. And I think, particularly with the season of Lent, where it is such like a reflective period historically as well, that it's like a beautiful reminder of just the goodness and the faithfulness of God, that he is never changing and that he's like seen through so many generations and been faithful through every generation. And he's faithful to us now. So it's just like, it's a good reflective time, and also like a time of kind of inner celebration and joy and appreciation for that presence of God that we get to carry with us every day.
Thank you. I love that picture of Jesus in the room reading a book and then just looking up as we come back in. I absolutely love that. So
it wasn't mine. I can't claim it, but I can't remember who said it. Someone told me ages ago.
I love that.
Yeah.
So all that said, though, would you say that 40 Acts is only for Christians? How would you encourage others to get involved? Maybe, other people who are questing, maybe they're kind of looking and kind of wondering about this Christianity thing. but maybe people of other faiths as well. What would you say? Yeah.
Do you know what? It's so funny because I feel like actually often people who aren't Christians can be better at this stuff sometimes than even Christians can. Or as Christians, we become quite consumed with our communities that we think we're the only ones like doing stuff. But I remember I was at my friend's birthday a few months ago, and she doesn't go to church, and most of her friends don't attend church either. And they were all talking, they were having this big conversation, all talking about how they'd like love their volunteering at the food bank, especially at Christmas, and they do this, that, and the other. And I was like, oh, I don't volunteer at a food bank. Like, you know, when you just suddenly feel really convicted of like, wait, I'm the Christian. Like, I should be doing even more. I serve in my church, but in terms of like actually like outside of the church, people are doing a lot and people are really generous with their lives. And I think that speaks to the way that God designed us. Like, even if people don't know God, they've still been created by God. And so this this desire and the joy that it gives us to serve other people comes for people even if they don't know God. Like, they get joy from doing it because it's how God created us to be. And I just think that's so beautiful. And so yeah, I think of course, yeah, non-Christians can engage with this as well. And I think they would absolutely love to engage with it because people love these kind of these ways of giving back to the world around them. And I think especially if they aren't in a community like a church or whatever, people can feel quite siloed and just in their own lives, and they actually want to have opportunity to interact with other people. And sometimes a challenge like the 40 Acts challenge can be such an easy way to do that and kind of have an excuse for involving yourself in other people's lives and encouraging people. So yeah, I would say it's definitely for everyone.
And we have tried quite hard, haven't we, to make it as fun and accessible as possible. So, because the word challenge and the 40 days, and we talked a bit about the kind of more serious spiritual aspect of it. But genuinely, it is a lot of fun as well. And just, who wouldn't want to be involved in something that spreads so much joy, and that kind of gives joy right back as well. Oh, Emma, this is a wonderful conversation. I'm really, really loving it. But we are running out of time. So before we go, I've got 2 more questions that I'd like to ask all my guests for this series. First of all, what is your favourite verse for this Lent season?
So I don't know if it's necessarily for the Lent season, but it's definitely a verse that I've been thinking about a lot the last couple of weeks since Lent began. I don't know if it's necessarily a Lent verse, but for me it's Hebrews 12 verse 1, which is, therefore, since we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses, let us also lay aside every weight and sin which clings so closely, and let us run with endurance the race set before us. And I think for me this verse is just so profound, and especially for the Lent season, just this time of focus and this time of laying down everything else, like all the things that just so easily capture our hearts and our minds and our attention and even our physical bodies, like the things that we go and do and like all this kind of stuff is like actually just setting everything aside and giving it all to God and saying like, God, you have my mind, you have my focus, and like really actively engaging with it. So yeah, I would say that for me is my verse at the moment.
Beautiful. Thank you. And last but certainly not least, how can we be praying for you this 40 Acts?
Oh, I love that. Well, I guess, I think at the moment I really have been praying personally, and I'd love more of you to pray for me. It's just about kind of, being undistracted and being able to kind of run the race that God has set before me, and not being so kind of distracted or, like swayed by all the things that go on in life around me, but just really keeping my gaze on God. So prayers for me to stay focused on Jesus would be great.
Thanks, Emma. We'll certainly add those prayer points to our show notes.
Thank you.
Well, that's sadly a wrap for today. So thanks, Emma, for a wonderful conversation. It's been both fun and very inspiring, actually. And to all of you who are with us on this 40 Acts journey, thank you for tuning in. And I really hope this has encouraged you as well for the week ahead. Please do share this podcast with your network and invite others to join us. Why not download our giving app to have 40 Acts handy on your phone? Further info and links for everything we've talked about are in the show notes. Until next week, God bless. You've been listening to the 40 Acts Generosity Challenge, a stewardship podcast for Lent. If you enjoyed this episode, please leave us a positive review and share with your network. We pray you touch many hearts as you continue your 40 Acts journey this week. Please join us for more encouragement and inspiration this time next week. Goodbye.